Hello and welcome to We're No Wizards. My name's Richard. Today we're looking at Britannia, which is a historical type, skirmishy type game which has been around for a long time. Seriously, the credits in the back have got like thanking the playtesters from Avalon Hill and Gibson's and thanking the playtesters from Final Fantasy Flight Games, and now it's with PSC Games, who were graciously generous enough to provide us with this copy that you see in front of you today. The thing about Britannia is because it's been around for so long, I'm hoping that this video is just here to kind of let you know what you kind of expect from the game. It's kind of like if you were reviewing kind of like a classic album, or if you were reviewing like a classical piece of art or something along those lines. There's the possibility that you already have some kind of opinion about it, and now what you're looking to find out about is whether or not it is actually worthwhile you going out there, pressing the button and getting yourself a copy of this game. So my aim is to give you a little bit more information about this game to help you make that decision, okay? When you're younger, you learn about rules, and as you get older, you learn that yes, the rules are sometimes not as black and white as you think. That especially comes in for, like, say, learning chemistry. When you're younger, you learn about acids and you learn about alkalis. As you get older, you learn about the different things that are involved about acids and alkalis. And then as you get even older, you take chemistry to the next level, you start to learn about exceptions and stuff like that. You start to learn about the basic rules and how the basic rules don't count in certain scenarios. Britannia is like the chemistry of board games, in that, yes, it is kind of like at its heart, it's a skirmish game, and there's dice. There is dice aplenty, and you'll be rolling sixes, which I've rolled 2 of. And there's big armies. I mean, there's tons of miniatures here. There must be at least about 52, 53 miniatures in each set. And you will be playing various races, from like the Normans to the Norwegians to the Picts to the Scots to just so many. And it's all taking place between 43 AD all the way through to 1066, which is basically the Roman Empire invading all the way through to the Battle of Hastings. However, it's a historically accurate game, and what that means is that while the rules themselves are very, very basic and simple, and they're so simple I can explain them to you in a matter of minutes, there are certain rules that you will need to follow in order to maximise your score. Britannia is essentially rounds, 16 of them, all about score attacks. It's about maximising your score to the maximum that you can through that round, and how you're going to do that is you're going to be moving your armies about the various regions in the UK. And when you come up against another army, you'll be rolling your dice, and if you roll a 5 or a 6, you usually take them out. Unless, of course, they're on mountainous regions, then you need to roll a 6. If you're part of the Roman army, then you only need to roll 4s. If you come up against a fort, then you need to roll a 6, and then you can roll 5s to get rid of everything. If you are deciding to come in and invade, you're going to come in from the sea and you're going to invade and you're going to stay in the land. If you're a raider, you're going to come in from the sea, do a little bit of fun and games, as you would say, and then you're going to disappear off again. At the end of the round, once everybody has played through what they need to do, then you're going to score that particular round. And this is when the rules kind of come into play, because there's no point if you are playing as the Scots and you're trying to get all the way down to, say, Avalon or Wessex, because you're not going to score the points for doing that. If we look at kind of examples, various rounds will have various kind of scoring, ideal scoring scenarios. So for instance, the Danes in round 16, they're going to want to hold York because that gives them 8 points. The Brigantes are going to want to hold Strathclyde in rounds 13 and 16 because that gives them 10 points. So in the cases of that, Britannia is very much a kind of an on-the-rails type game. Yes, there are certain strategies that you will carry out, you'll want to carry out in order to maximise it, but you're never going to do anything beyond kind of what you would be seen as historical. And that, for me, I bounced off that quite a lot, because when I see this as a skirmish type game, this cover depicts, you're welcome. This cover depicts kind of massive amounts of battles going on, but this is at such a huge kind of focused out level that you're not looking at the smaller results of the smaller battles. You're looking at kind of like the overall campaigns that take place. And because of that, and because Dr. Pulsifer isn't going to diverge away from what the actual historical events, that's why they've put in these limiters to kind of like the score. And what that means is that it means it's quite gentle. This is a game that takes like 4 or 5 hours on this side anyway. You're going to be spending time potentially in discussions with people. You're going to be spending time trying to very gently maximise your potential to gain the most points in every kind of round, I would reckon. This is a game where this is all you have. You have a population track, you have a round marker, you have the points, around the edge of the board. You don't have individual kind of player boards. There's no extra powers. At no point are you going to pull kind of like a card which is going to decimate the opposition. You're basically going to be playing this based on kind of strengths and numbers. And your tactics based on that will decide the flow. But obviously, your player guides are going to be the main thing that's going to help you decide your tactics in the first place. If that's something that you like, if that's something where you're gently kind of skirmishing and more looking kind of like almost like a maximising score potential, then I think this will suit you kind of down to the ground. For people who don't want to spend an entire afternoon, if not longer, delving into British history, you've then got the kind of the shorter version, the dual Britannia version, which takes place over a much shorter period of time, is only supporting kind of like 2 players. The rules are a little bit more concentrated down. The basic rules are kind of like the same, but it only plays in like an hour to kind of like 90 minutes. And that will probably suit you. It's double-sided type of game. For those people who are looking for a skirmish game, I wouldn't say this is like a skirmish game, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't read like a skirmish game. There's no extra special kind of surprises coming along. This is a kind of a slow burning, kind of taking your tactical time type of game. And this is a game where it's going to be won by points. I can't see somebody kind of ramming ahead by 50 or 60 points when they're playing this, especially once they've played it kind of several times. As I say, it pains me because I appreciate what it's bringing to the table. However, for me, I'm the type of person who likes to kind of like have a rule book, and then kind of devise my own strategy. Kind of feel with Britannia, you're kind of pushed down the trouser leg of time, to use a kind of a Terry Pratchett kind of analogy. And for some people might not appreciate that. They might find the game after a while a kind of a potentially a little bit samey. But in that case, switch the armies round, play as somebody else and see how you kind of get on this way. It's very difficult to, it's very difficult to say many negative things about something which has been around for as long as Britannia has. But as I say, the idea of this video was hopefully it'll help you decide whether or not you think this is suitable for your group, or if it's suitable for you and your gaming partner if you're just going to be playing the dual Britannia side. So, all in all, if you like a bit of history, British history, you're going to love this, I think. You're really going to appreciate what it's trying to do. Otherwise, lots of lovely detail in here. Miniatures are lovely, dice is solid, the artwork on the actual board is fantastic as well. Hats off actually to the rules. They could have taken the lazy way out and just done a big huge bumper rule book, but they've taken the time to kind of do these very, very handy guides which kind of guide you through, and that's for both kind of like the dual Britannia version and also the main kind of scoring book. So you've got these sitting at the table which will help you kind of guide and get your tactics, and then you've got the main rule book itself, which is a kind of a hefty tome. To give you an idea, the main Britannia rule book kind of finishes round about page 40, and then the rest of it is kind of like dual Britannia, so you can tell there's a lot there. So that's Britannia, the classic and dual edition from PSC Games. My name's Richard. This is We're Not Wizards. Remember, thank you for watching. Stay safe. Roll sixes. Got two. Not as happy as I should be. But until the next time, goodbye.